rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events, this is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, my goodness. So we have two related stories, articles to talk about tonight. Well, there's more articles than just one, but still. They are related in the fact that they're both about immigrants and immigration. So anyway, we got that coming up. Also, too, we have a brand new entry for the Pledge of Allegiance. That's right. Nana of JJS over on Rumble submitted her wonderful rendition of the pledge. Longtime Whiskey Warrior P1, and she wanted me to let all of the OG Whiskey Warrior P1s to know that bourbon was involved. Okay? No, it's not that bad, I promise. It is actually, it's really good. But anyway, we've got her on tap for the beginning. And of course, I've got to do a couple programming notes. Do not forget, I'm going to be telling you about it all this week. Friday, April 4th, which ironically happens to be the anniversary of this, of my live streaming. Okay. I will not be broadcasting on Friday the 4th. We'll have to pick up the celebration of the 5th year of the show, or the 5th year of me anyway, on Saturday, because of the fact that Mrs. Whiskey and I are going on a date night. That's kind of how that works. When Mrs. Whiskey calls, Mr. Whiskey answers. Anyway, and also, too, don't forget, next Tuesday, 1 week from tonight, okay? 1 week from tonight, I will be traveling to Texas for the big kickoffs, the launch parties of the Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio on TGRN. So Tuesday, because I will be traveling, there will also be no show. So no show on Friday the 4th, no show on Tuesday the 8th. And we'll hopefully pick things back up after that. All right. So let's get things kicked off with Nana and her wonderful rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance. But first, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one, place your hand over your heart, and follow along with Nana of JJS from Rumbleland as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, Nana, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. That wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself like Nana did and send me the audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and I will get it into the program and into the rotation. You take that audio file, video file, you attach it to an email, you send it off to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And of course, all the Rumblers are saying congrats to Nana. Well done. Perfect. Good job. And of course, Buddy Weiser was, with all kinds of wise words, said a wise man once told his wife nothing because he was wise. Well, today's April 1st, and I wish this were a joke, an April Fool's joke, but it's not. Actually, you want to know what the April Fool's joke actually is? First of all, does anybody know if Spartacus is still talking on the Senate floor? He has gone down, apparently now has been speaking so long that he's actually made the history books for the longest filibuster, which I kind of find amazing, but the longest, I guess, single filibuster in history. So if he's still talking on the floor, if he's still on the floor of the Senate, you know, we got to give him props. Not really, but we got to give him props for that. But what a moron. And I don't even understand what he's filibustering. And there's got to be something that he's like irritated about or whatever, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, so, I guess he's still there. So, all I can tell you is that Chris Murphy, who is another complete moron from Connecticut, was saying that, hey, I was down there. I mean, Chris Murphy puts on videos on X. Okay. And he sits there and he puts on these videos and he acts like he knows things and that he's intelligent and he's brilliant and all of this other stuff. Yeah, he's just a moron, just like all of the others. And he sits there and he was talking about how he was talking to Spartacus and, so on and so forth. So anyway, I don't know. Oh, I guess he hasn't been speaking the whole time, according to Amy. This just tells you how irrelevant this actually is that I haven't even bothered to look. I just know that he's there because of all the comments about it. Anyway, let's get on to tonight's headline sponsor, which is, I should go this way. Tonight's headline sponsor, I'm wearing one of their fabulous, fantastic, and stupendous colored American themed shirts here. This is theflagshirt.com, theflagshirt.com, and is where you can go to pick up these patriotic styles. And right now they are holding a Patriots Day sale where if you spend $100, you get to take $20 off by using promo code PATRIOT20. That's PATRIOT 20 at checkout to get that $20 off when you spend $100 at theflagshirt.com. I'm assuming that also comes with their free shipping on orders of $75 or more, but not too many people really want to go. Not too many people actually want to go and spend that kind of money, or maybe they only just want one shirt. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be like me, pick up one for every day of the week. Just go and check out their styles. They've got men's, women's, kids. They've got made in USA. They've got all kinds of accessories that are all red, white, and blue. And I'm going to help you out. By, if you head off to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. You will be presented with a coupon code that you can then copy and paste into the promo code box at checkout to get $5 off your order if you don't take them up on that Patriots Day sale code. So once again, if all you're looking for is maybe one shirt, two shirts, one and a couple of, one and a couple of accessories or something along those lines, and you don't want to spend the whole $100 that they're looking for right now under their sale, you can go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online and get a coupon code for $5 off your order when you paste that coupon code in the promo box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. And you will go ahead and be working on making and getting yourself patriotized at theflagshirt.com. And of course, you will be looking sharp in all of that red, white, and blue stuff. I like the polos, the men's polos, cotton polos. They're just great colors. Sizes are true to form, and they're very comfortable, very comfortable. If I played golf, that's what I'd be wearing on the golf course. But I don't play golf. So there you go. All right. My throat's a little scratchy tonight, so don't be surprised if I cough a couple of times. So you'll have to deal with it. First off for tonight. So, not like we should really be surprised. I mean, The Atlantic, which is a left-wing, very left-wing newspaper that kind of makes crap up. I mean, Jeffrey Goldberg is the guy that's in charge over there. And yeah, he makes a bunch of crap up. Well, he's being a little disingenuous in this first story. So here in The Atlantic, you can see the top headline says, "An administrative error sends a Maryland father to a Salvadoran prison." Okay, let that sink in for a second. What do you think that situation would be? You would think, okay, well, that means that they have an administrative error and they're sending this American citizen who, shouldn't be sent there. He's a Maryland father, for gosh sakes. And they send him off to a Salvadoran prison. They sent him off to a Salvadoran prison. Oh my gosh. The Trump administration is so horrible. They're so bad. They're horrible. They did this. They did this on purpose. Yeah. Well, there's a little bit more to the story, and The Atlantic, I mean, just like any other major news stream media. Oh, and I guess according to 3 Chevy, ABC even took it one step further and said they sent an innocent man to El Salvador. There's a little bit more to the story than what the mainstream media is reporting here, people. And you have to kind of dig into the story in order to get it really pulled out, okay? And even the first paragraph here, they point out the Trump administration acknowledged in a court filing Monday that it had grabbed a Maryland father with protected legal status and mistakenly deported him to El Salvador. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, this is not what you think it is. The reason why I'm saying this, okay, everybody, people would be panicking if they saw that. They'd be, oh my gosh, what the left said is right. Trump is deporting people he doesn't like. Okay. First of all, this person, this individual, all right, was under a deportation order from back during the Biden administration that a judge, an immigration judge, found enough evidence to tie this individual to the gang MS-13. Okay? And he was under a deportation order under Biden. However, that order had been stayed. Okay? Now, he basically was, he was here illegally in the first place. Okay? And was found to, again, by a immigration judge under Biden. He was found to have ties to MS-13. Now, whether or not he had ties or not, that's apparently the immigration judge found these ties. It's not very clear how strong these ties were. But the point is that why he got his stay order was the fact that the stay order actually didn't say that he couldn't be deported. It just said that he couldn't be deported to El Salvador, because if he went to El Salvador, he feared for his life that people there would basically kill him. And so that's why the stay order was issued. But the order itself didn't say that he couldn't be deported. It just said that he shouldn't be deported to El Salvador. Well, that is the small administrative error that the Atlantic fails to call out. He was and illegal. He had crossed here illegally. He was caught and was on the list to be deported, just not necessarily to El Salvador. Now, keep in mind, he was secondary on the list. He wasn't a primary. He wasn't like a high-level criminal, but they happened to, pick him up and see that he had the deportation order. And so they essentially loaded him on the plane and sent him back, or sent him out. And, the Atlantic and all of the mainstream media and even the left is like trying to make this out to be this huge big deal. Now, Carolyn Levitt was talking today about this left-wing narrative being peddled with regards to it. The illegal in question, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was arrested by ICE and sent to El Salvador last month on one of the deportation flights. While a judge had ordered that the Salvadoran be removed from the country in 2019, the order prohibited Garcia from being sent back to his home country, acknowledging, of course, that he would likely face persecution or torture. Now, when pressed about this particular deportation in the briefing room, Levitt laid out 4 facts that basically clearly calls into question the left-wing reports and commentary that paint that illegal citizen, and not American citizen, but that illegal alien, I should say, as a quote-unquote innocent father, which is what the Atlantic was trying to get you to think. So, she said the error that you were referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was, in fact, a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. So that's fact number 1. Fact number 2, they have credible evidence, or credible intelligence, I should say, proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking. That's fact 2. Fact number 3 is that this individual was a member and reportedly a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which, of course, MS-13 has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. Now, fact number 4 is the fact that foreign terrorists do not have legal protections in the United States of America. And it is within the the president's executive authority and power to deport these heinous individuals from American communities. Okay? So, that is essentially where this is going. Now, she also claimed that there's a lot of evidence from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE that indicating that this guy actually was a member of MS-13. So that essentially was the beginning of the defense of everything. Vance actually got into it as well, and was defending the administration as well with regards to this. And again, keep in mind that this guy is one of those that he was here illegally. That alone should just tell you what's going on here, is that he is here illegally. He doesn't need to be here. Regardless of whether or not he was an MS-13 gang member or not, that alone, if he'd have been caught at the border and our immigration policy was actually followed, he would have been deported immediately. No passing go, no collecting $200, no heading off to a court to get your, due process rights, none of it. He would have gone. He would have been just out. Had our immigration policies back then fully fully decided and enforced. They would have just handed him over, just sent him back to the border. But no, They didn't. He was allowed to stay here because of the Biden administration's, the Biden administration's thing. So he was allowed to stay. So anyway, this caused a lot of questions with regards to some of the mainstream media folks that were out there. One of which, of course, we cannot forget, CNN. CNN is, of course, the great arbiter of truth and so on and so forth. Well, I like Scott Jennings. I talked about him last night. Going to keep talking about him because the guy is just incredible in terms of his analysis and ability to stand up to these leftist lunatics that are on CNN. Well, Jennings made an appearance on Phillips' show, Abby Phillips, CNN Newsnight, and he articulated a thought that I think most Americans who are halfway intelligent do recognize. And, well, let's just go ahead and listen to what that thought actually was.
Isn't this exactly what we denounce other countries for doing? Not giving our own citizens, when they get wrongfully detained around the world, our own citizens, the due process that they deserve?
Well, I think multiple things could be true. Number one, I delineate between American citizens and everyone else. If you're a U.S. citizen, I put you in a different category.
On due process, that's not a distinction that the law makes,
Then if you've come here and broken our laws and committed violent acts or murdered and raped and whatever, I put you in a different category.
When it comes to the law and due process, that is not a distinction.
Well, if you'd like to argue that Trinidad should have the same rights and that you get as an American citizen, go ahead.
I don't change the Constitution.
The
argument is
you're saying that a terrorist can walk across the border and become effectively a U.S. citizen?
That's not what I'm saying.
Scott, look at me. Okay,
yeah,
you and I are talking. You and I are talking. Okay, what I'm saying to you is that the law does not make a distinction between U.S. citizens and everybody else when it comes to being accused of crimes. Are you saying that should not be in place? That if you happen to not be a citizen, you get to be thrown into a jail with no process at all?
I'm saying that these people are effectively terrorists. They walked across our borders illegally.
Okay.
They are violent. I don't really want them here.
But doesn't the government have to prove that they are who they say they are?
Correct.
That's all
we're saying.
That's all.
I mean,
you can say it
eventually.
It's not a concession that you like Trinidad and Tobago. It's just a question of the basics of civics in this country.
I think eventually the government will have to show all of its cards on everybody that they have detained, deported, or done anything to in this arena. But there is no doubt that the Trump administration is rounding up effectively terrorists who came across here illegally, committed horrific acts, and do not need to be in this country.
They are doing that, perhaps, but they're also doing a lot of other things, too. And that's why the courts are asking questions about it.
Okay, so I want to point something out to pretty much everybody, and this is going to sound a little bit callous. However, the Constitution, these leftists on this panel kept saying that the Constitution basically says that, hey, if you are arrested here, you are immediately afforded due process rights. You are immediately afforded all of these benefits that are essentially in the Constitution with regards to all of our rights. Now, the ones, many of them delineated in the first 10 amendments. But I want these people to realize that while that may be the way that we have implemented a lot of this, in other words, providing a lot of these people the opportunity to experience the rights that they are given, that isn't what the Constitution states. In fact, in the original document, and this goes even with the whole idea of like birthright citizenship and so on and so forth, okay, which is essentially that in order to be a U.S. citizen, you have to, and this is true in terms of you have to essentially have 0 foreign connections. You cannot be a U.S. citizen without that. You cannot have any allegiances to any other country. This is one of the things that happens when you become a naturalized citizen. You are not considered a citizen until you become naturalized or until you are born to American parents, at least one. Okay? This is not, and this is a fallacy that a lot of people don't seem to understand. See, once the Constitution was written, all right, the Constitution did not apply across the board to everybody. Now, we look at that now, we look back on that now, and we basically say, oh, well, that was, you could call it whatever you wanted. You could call it racism. You could call it whatever. As far as that goes, you could, say that was something that the founding fathers didn't. The founding fathers recognized that there were other people here, meaning the Native American tribes. Okay? The Native American tribes were not considered U.S. citizens. Many of them weren't even taxed until, I believe, the early 1900s. They were not considered American citizens. They weren't brought into the fold of the American culture until we decided and by law made them American citizens, gave them those opportunities. And I do take exception to the one person on the panel. I don't even know what her freaking name is, but she made a comment that, hey, we expect due process rights in other countries. No, you don't. No, you don't. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because of the fact that when you go off to another country like Japan, you are expected to, perfect example, that kid that went off to the Philippines got caught tagging. He thought that was going to be something really, really fun to do. And what did he end up with? He ended up getting caned as the punishment. We, as Americans heading off to other countries, we have to be subjected to their laws, but that doesn't mean that we're a citizen over there. Okay? That doesn't mean we're a citizen of that country. We are subject to their laws when we're in their country. Okay? But here, same rules apply. You'd be subjected to the laws here, which is part of the reason why some cultures have difficulty when they do come over here. We as Americans, you're not an American citizen until you are an American citizen. You can come here and get a green card. That doesn't mean you're an American citizen. You can get permanent residency here. That doesn't mean you're an American citizen. But we being the magnanimous people that we are, do provide the thought process, because in our core beliefs, every human being, every person has the right that is listed in the Constitution and others that aren't listed there. But the thing about it is that these people need to understand they didn't come here legally. They don't get, if they were caught at the border, they don't get due process. Like I said, they get caught at the border, they're immediately deported. They go and get caught crossing the border illegally. There's no standing in front of a judge. There's none of that. Your butt's out of here, according to the law. And so for any of these people, especially these people on the panel, and of course they're all Democrats outside of Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings understands the way of the world, the way that our laws actually are supposed to work. The Constitution talks about citizens and citizenship as a separate category than what it talks about other people, because of the fact that it was recognized and known that you can have people coming into our country. You can have those people being part of foreign nationals, and you can have those people who are not citizens here. This is part of the reason why we have the whole right to vote. You can't just be here being illegal and vote in this country. That's a right. You have a right to vote. Okay? You have a right to vote in our country for federal elections when you are a U.S. citizen. That's the point. These people are not U.S. citizens. Now, do I think it's, bad form for us to not provide them due process? Well, I mean, depending upon what they did, sure, but we're talking about people who were here illegally. They're not even supposed to be here. They need to go. They need to just get out. We need to send them away, which is exactly what ICE and them are doing. So for these people to sit here and say, oh, no, the law recognizes, no, it's not the law. It's the fact that pretty much we apply that to them. But if you really wanted to make the correct argument and the technical argument again, which is essentially that American citizens, like Scott Jennings pointed out, are in a different category than everyone else. If you're not an American citizen, technically the Constitution is not supposed to apply to you. We allow it to because of the fact that we do believe that every person has the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, because of our founding beliefs. But in terms of the actual written Constitution itself, and historically speaking, on the Constitution, right or wrong, historically speaking, it has not always applied to every single individual who just happens to be within the borders of the United States. All right. So let me take a second and let me tell you about, and I'm going to be doing this a lot because this is a big week for us, TGRN, True Grit Roots Network. Okay? True Grit Roots Network. We have one signature channel up right now. Our signature channel is Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio, but next week on April 7th, we are launching the second signature channel. That's Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio is coming on April 7th, and we'll be debuting then, which is, of course, why I'll be in Texas on the 9th and the following 13th at the Dallas Moore shows to be there for the launch parties that are being held on the 9th in New Braunfels, Texas, and on the 13th in Luckenbach, Texas. That's right, the Luckenbach, Texas. The Luckenbach, Texas that is in the song with Willie Whalen and the boys. Three Chevy, you almost got me. You almost beat me there. I beat you, though. But anyway, so you want to learn all about it, go to tgrn.net. You can check out our broadcast right now with Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio, and coming soon, the Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. That's coming very, very soon. We're working really hard to get all of the back end stuff put together. And we're trying really hard to get things launched off in the right fashion as quickly as we possibly can. So go and check us out at tgrn.net, get all of the updates and everything else there, and listen right through your browser. If you don't want to listen through your browser, that's fine. We have our own app that you can download. once you have that downloaded, or if you already have one of the other 3 locations that you can listen to us, like the iHeartRadio app, the Live 365 radio app, or the Odyssey, AUDACY radio app, you can pick up all of those. You can find us in all of their catalog of digital radio stations as well. So go and check us out. True Grit Roots Network, TGRN.net, based out of Austin, Texas. Well, you know, Elon Musk was up in Wisconsin, which, by the way, the Wisconsin polls, I think, are still open. They've got another 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes up there. And what I'm hearing from my rumblers who are keeping me in on the updated tracks is that it appears the 2 candidates in Florida, the 2 Republican candidates in Florida seem to be winning there. So the other, not that I want to, count my chickens before they are hatched, but I want to see especially what's going on up in Wisconsin. Well, Wisconsin has about 25 minutes left till the polls close. So if you're within earshot of me in Wisconsin, please go and vote, especially if you are a Republican, because we need to win that seat. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right there that has a big effect on the country. But while up in Wisconsin, Elon Musk was doing a speech there, and they also had a presentation on some other things that they found. Especially at Social Security. Now, some people would be like, well, wait a minute, Social Security, I mean, they already found, several thousand people who were over the age of 125. Okay. But there's actually even more than that. So, they essentially were talking about how if they can clean up some of the fraud and stuff, that Social Security benefits will potentially go up, I should say, a little bit more than what they already have, provided they can get all this stuff cleaned up. But here's another thing that was found. And this guy, by the name of Antonio Gracias, yes, that's how it's spelled. I don't know if that's how it's definitely pronounced, but yeah, he ended up where he is a founding and managing partner at Valor Equity Partners, and he was willing to work with Elon at Doge, and he found something that is a little concerning. What they found was that the Biden administration in 2024, that's one singular year, okay, 2024, gave 2.1 million non-citizens Social Security numbers. Now, here's the thing. Social Security is supposed to be for U.S. citizens. It's supposed to be for U.S. citizens to save for retirement, to help save for retirement. But they found that in 2021, 270,000 non-citizens were allowed to get Social Security numbers. And again, in 2024, 2.1 million, okay, got Social Security numbers. Well, what does this actually mean realistically? Okay, think about this. The Social Security number was not supposed to be used for identification when the system was first built. It was supposed to be a number, a secretive number that was only going to track what you paid in and what you were owed when you finally get to the point of retirement age. It wasn't supposed to be used for identification. However, over time, they warped it, modified it, bastardized it into a number that now shows up everywhere on all kinds of applications. It's not necessarily used for identification, but it damn sure is used for all kinds of financial information that you are being pulled from. I mean, you use your social security number for tax purposes. You use it for banking, opening up banks, opening up all kinds of accounts, all sorts of other things that is on almost every single form that I can think of that I have ever filled out in pretty much my adult life. Okay. Well, here's the problem. Once you have that social security number, now all of a sudden you can be, essentially fooled into thinking that you're an American citizen and that you can go and register to vote, that you can get Social Security benefits, that you can get onto Medicaid, Medicare, so on and so forth. That is all. I mean, it's even worse than getting like a driver's license. I mean, a driver's license and a Social Security number, that's all you really need. That's all you really need. And you can use those two pieces of identification to get just about anything that you want in terms of this country. Well, that's pretty much what happened. Because this individual, Mr. Garcia, found 1.3 million of those people that received, those illegal people that received Social Security numbers under the Biden administration, are already on Medicaid. That was the announcement. So they've gone through every benefit program that they had been through, and they found groups from this particular group of people, the 5.5 million people that they had in those benefit programs. Okay. And they were trying to understand why. They actually went through, it took a sample and looked through voter registration records, and lo and behold, they actually found people who were registered to vote who were illegals. Wait a minute, I thought the Democrats said that didn't happen, that wasn't even possible. Yep, it is. Well, they asked the question at that point. They're like, okay, well, it registered, great, but did they actually vote? Well, they found by doing some samplings that there are some that actually did vote. They did. Hello? Illegals voting in our federal government election. They actually voted. Oh, well, they've actually found, and they took those ones that they found, by the way, and reportedly they sent it over to the Homeland Security Investigative Service. But again, if these people, these Democrats, they seem to think that government cannot in any way, shape, or form go wrong. That government is godlike in perfection. Well, they won't call them godlike because they don't believe in God in many cases, but this is the thing. It doesn't take much to back these people out. And again, like I said, and here's the chart of the numbers that they found, and I'll show you. Here's the chart of what they presented of new non-citizen Social Security numbers that were issued. In 2021, they had 270,000 plus. In 2022, they found 590,000 plus. In 2023, they found 964,000 plus. Again, in 2024, they found over 2 million plus. And they found in 2025 that there were 900,000, almost 901,000 that were that were found to be non-citizen Social Security numbers that were issued. Folks, this is just the start of the fraud. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what they've found in the short period of time that they've had the data. Okay? So, again, if you think that fraud is not happening in our voting system, that fraud is not being perpetrated throughout our government, yeah, it's a you guys are on the wrong camp for sure. So Gracias apparently also explained how the Biden administration allowed illegal immigrants to stay in the country and obtain those Social Security numbers and work documents using what is essentially a legal loophole. He noted during the presentation how Biden officials released foreign-born citizens with a notice to appear before a judge to make their case, which would determine if they qualified for asylum. However, the justice system is critically understaffed, and resulting backlogs can take decades to clear. The wait times on judges are averaging 6 years for immigration judges. There's only 700 immigration judges. There's 5.5 million people in this particular situation. So while waiting for a court date, here's how the process kind of goes, according to them. Immigrants applied for work documents and Social Security numbers without having to appear in person, do interviews, or provide identification numbers. So you file what's called a 765. That's a work form. You get this form from that called a 766. That is the authorization. And then the Social Security Administration automatically sends you your Social Security number in the mail. There's no interview, no ID. He also, Garcia did, explained how human traffickers exploited the broken system to prey on desperate immigrants by charging them tens of thousands of dollars to sneak them across the border. And this amount of money to get them across the border was earned them somewhere between $13 to $15 billion. Billion dollars. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that if they can't afford to pay, meaning the aliens that are trying to get here, who can't afford to pay, get enslaved and are forced to work until they clear their debts. Human trafficking, baby. That's it. Human trafficking. So, yeah. This is a suck on the system, because think about this. None of these people have gotten into the system for benefits or anything like that, right? Oh, that's just Social Security numbers. It's no big deal. Well, before I move on to that little tidbit of information here that I'm about to drop on you, let me go ahead and point this out. GOP-led states in Idaho and Missouri took nearly 300,000 registrations off of their voter rolls after finding inactive, ineligible, or deceased voters, in addition to all kinds of duplicates and voters who had moved. Non-citizens ineligible to vote under those states have also been removed. So they're finally starting, at least a couple of these, they're finally starting to clean up the voter rolls and make it, essentially, for the time being anyway, harder for the Democrats or anybody else to cheat. Okay? But here's the thing, though. Apparently, there is a lawsuit that has now been filed by the Democrats. Oh, and wait a minute. I did want to point this out. Let's see. Where did that go? Where did that go? Hold on just a minute. Hold on. Here we go. it's not just the fact that these people, sorry, I lost where they were where it was in the, in the thing, in my notes here. It's not just the fact that they are going and getting Social Security numbers in order to work, and stuff while they're here, and are getting put onto Medicaid, and stuff like that. There's also a whistleblower that has now come forward that has essentially explained in this video where they had a coordinated effort that was designed to sign illegal immigrants up for permanent Social Security benefits, to create essentially a lifeline for this. Now, this particular clip on X from Mario Nawful runs for about 7 minutes, but I want you to listen. I want you to listen to the very first part where she is describing what's happening here. Let's go and take a listen.
They wanted us to try to identify them in such a way that they would qualify for long-term Social Security disability. Now,
what?
Yeah, and long-term Social Security disability is for life.
Yeah.
So if they get identified and qualify for long-term Social Security disability, they are as good as set up for life for medical treatment.
That doesn't sound like a refugee to me. Just being honest.
Yeah.
That sounds like somebody who's planning on staying here.
Yeah,
A refugee
right.
stays until the problem's over and then goes home.
Well, that's right. And so they instructed us to try to identify, to try to get the client, because once they arrive here, they're now called clients.
They're called clients.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because clients pay.
Sure.
See?
Sure. I'm starting to
so,
see where this is leading. Here.
So they told us that we needed to talk to the client and ask them if they'd had any headaches, recurring headaches, or any lower back problems. Excuse me, anything that would qualify them for Social Security long-term disability.
Wait. So let me get this straight. Part of the screening is supposed to be, are you sick, maimed, injured, whatever?
Right.
No. Okay, good, you can come in.
Yeah.
You get on the airplane, are you sick, maimed, injured, whatever? Yes. Good, so we can give you disability.
Correct.
What?
Yes.
This is insanity.
Yes.
So there you go. And this interview goes on. That was just the first minute and a half. But you can see how this is a big boondoggle, because again, the whole point of, and that was Social Security long-term disability, which is a legitimate program, okay, and a legitimate setup for people who have paid into the system. But again, remember, Social Security is actually more of a Ponzi scheme, because the way that the structure was built out, okay, is that the future generations are the ones that are actually paying for the ones who are retired at that point. And it's not like the money was held, even though it was originally set up, it was originally supposed to be held in some sort of a trust fund or a banking fund that was going to be, quote unquote, invested and gain interest and so on and so forth. Okay. But in reality, the money's not there. It's a farce. It's a ghost. The money isn't there. What's being paid out right now is being paid out by the people who are currently working and paying into the system. Because again, the idea was that you were going to pay into this system and that there would be more workers in the future. They didn't anticipate the baby boomer generation being a larger generation than the generations that follow. They also didn't anticipate the idea. They figured that it was going to just basically, employment was going to increase. I don't know if it's logarithmically or, no, I don't think it's logarithmically, but increase over time, that we wouldn't actually go down. While right now, our employment participation rate is running right around 60%, 60 to 65% of the actual amount of workers, eligible workers, who are able to work that are actually in the marketplace working. Not to mention the fact, as Coco, insert your name here, points out, she basically says that we're also living longer than when it was originally set up. And so people are retiring and taking a lot longer to pass on from this world. And so more money is going out to these people. All of these things add up to one big boondoggle that is making it so that the Social Security, just as one program, along with several others, that are going insolvent. And this is what everybody's been talking about, okay? This is what everybody's been talking about. If you haven't paid into the system, you shouldn't be eligible to bring out that money. But no, Democrats in Congress have been changing the laws, including old Joe Biden in the Senate, have been changing the laws, making it so that not only are your Social Security benefits taxed now, thanks to them, but also the other side of the coin, or the flip side of the coin, is that now they seem to be handing this stuff out like candy to anybody, rather than people who have paid into the system their entire lives getting what they're supposed to get out of it. So that's the problem. And that's the issue. And that's what the Doge team has gone and discovered. Well, Schumer and the DNC, because of Trump's targeting illegal immigrant voting, have decided to sue the Trump administration. DNC and Schumer sue Trump over order targeting illegal immigrant voting here in the Epoch Times. Democrats allege that the order itself is unconstitutional. So the Democrat National Committee and two top U.S. lawmakers, that's including Schumer, sued President Donald Trump on March 31st, that would be yesterday, over a recent executive order that aims to enforce the law against illegal immigrant voting and election dates. The lawsuit, this is by attorney Mark Elias in the federal court in Washington, points out the executive order seeks to impose radical changes on how Americans register to vote, cast a ballot, and participate in our democracy. Trump's order on March 25th has multiple sections. Several of them deal with laws that bar foreigners from registering to vote or from voting in federal elections. Trump has directed the Independent Election Assistance Commission to require proof of U.S. citizenship in its mail voter registration form, ordered U.S. officials to work with the Department of Government Efficiency to review voter rolls to identify non-citizens who are already registered. We just talked about that. And told the U.S. Attorney General to prosecute individuals who have illegally registered or voted. Another prong, as a part of the executive order, takes aim at how some states in recent years have begun counting ballots, mailed ballots, that arrive after Election Day, which the order says contravenes federal law. A third portion of it, the executive order, says the Election Assistance Commission shall stop providing federal funds to states that don't comply with laws on election dates and non-citizen voting and voter registration. Now, the U.S. Constitution's Elections Clause says that states can set election dates, although Congress can also alter them. The new suit states, outside of the Elections Clause, other provisions in the Constitution place certain requirements and limitations on the regulation of elections, but none allows the president to override the will of the states or Congress in this space. So this is yet another lawsuit that's going to be interesting to watch and see as to how this comes out. And of course, it's Mark Elias that did it. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It's free. And once you are signed up and signed in, don't forget to search up the American Perspective channel. Hit that green follow button once you are there to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, hit that thumbs up, like button on your way out, no matter where you are on X, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.